What's going on YouTube? My name is Eric Sun and I'm a photographer based out of Atlanta, Georgia. I'm going to be talking about the real estate photography gear that I use, that I have, and I'm going to be making a separate video about the video side of real estate photography that I have, but this one I'm just going to focus on mostly on the photography portion of it. A lot of the gear does overlap, but I do feel like that there's just enough to talk about just with the photography side that to prevent the video from being too long, I'm just going to make the video side a separate video. So without further ado, let's get started. All right, and for real estate photography, there are definitely essentials that you need, and depending on how you shoot, your gear is going to be a little bit different. There is this huge debate on HDR versus flash ambient in terms of how you shoot and how you edit and process your images. Some people, they're great photographers on both sides. I personally like to use flash. It's called flambient, which is a combination of flash and ambient. I like to use flambient because I just feel like the images look a lot truer to color. I'm able to have a lot more control over the lighting. I just think it just overall it looks better. So the first piece of equipment that I want to talk about is probably one of the most important things is your camera body. And so for me, I use this right here. It is the Canon 5D Mark IV. You guys have heard me talk about this camera plenty of times. I love this camera. My first full frame camera that I've ever used. It has been faithful to me. I've used this for years now and I've never had a problem with it. I mean, I love this camera, one, because of just the megapixels of the size of the sensor, the size of the images that you get, so that if you just, need to crop in a little bit, you can. And just having more information, to me, I feel like it's just a lot better to be able to work with. So I shoot in RAW, of course, and it has a dual card memory right here in this camera. I don't use both cards, but I definitely have both in case that I need it. There are some times where if I'm shooting multiple homes in a day, I do like to separate the shoots based off of the cards, and that just helps me keep things organized. Or, what I do instead is that since most of my real estate photos are in landscape mode, I just turn my camera sideways and I shoot 3 really dark images vertical, so that when I'm scrolling through and separating each shoot, I know exactly where they are. I don't have to go through each photo and wait for the preview. I just kind of know just by seeing the thumbnails and move them to the correct folders. And for one of the things that I really love about the 5D Mark IV in terms of real estate photography is that I can shoot brackets. I know a lot of other cameras can do that too, but I remember when I found out that I could do brackets with this camera by itself, like it'll do it for me. I just kind of set up the settings and it'll do it for me. I thought that was a complete game changer. I always shoot with the 2-second timer on. With it, I don't do 10 seconds because I feel like 10 seconds is just too long to wait. So I do 2 seconds so that when I have the camera on the tripod and I'm pressing it or whatever, if I need to walk away, it gives it a little bit of time for the camera to kind of stabilize out a little bit for it to take a still shot. And the reason why I like to shoot in brackets instead of just doing a single still image for exterior work is, one, depending on the time of day, if the sun is really, really bright, then the shadows are going to be really dark and you'll lose a lot of detail there. Or if you expose for the shadows, then the sky will be super overexposed and you'll lose data there. So I like to shoot brackets so that one is properly exposed, underexposed, and overexposed, so that the overexposed I'll be able to retain the details in the shadows. The normal exposure is the base that I work off of, and the underexposed, I'll have enough information for the highlights in the sky. And because of just also the trend, I guess now with a lot of homes are just being built and painted white exteriors, when the sun is hitting the house directly, it's just really, really bright. So I shoot in brackets, and I love that the 5D Mark IV can do that. And in the 5D Mark IV, you can also change the number of bracket shots that you can take. It can be 3, 5, and so on. I've never had to go above 5, so when I saw that, I just stopped looking, but I stick with 3. That's just what I like, what I prefer, and I don't shoot HDR usually, so I don't really need the extra photos. Yeah, so full frame camera, 5D Mark IV, definitely will still recommend. Love this. And one thing on this camera that is really cool is that it has this part right here where I connect a remote shutter system to this camera, and so that's what allows me to kind of walk around the room and the space and not have to always stay by my camera. And so, which is a segue into the next piece of gear that I use, and it is these right here. And you can tell that these are super old just because of the labels, but these are Yongnuo triggers. And so I use these along with this cable right here that I plug into the camera, and I basically just plug it in like this, and this part goes into the camera, and what I'm able to do is that I'm able to just keep this remote kind of in my pocket, and then I can walk around and pop flashes or go wherever. Or if there's, there's a mirror right in front of the doorway, I have my camera set up and I don't want to Photoshop myself out of the picture, I just use this remote, I step away from the frame, press the shutter on, press the button on this remote, and then it gets the camera to take a picture. So these are super helpful. I really love these, and I think if you shoot flambient, if you use flash in your photography for real estate, I think having these triggers and these remotes are super helpful. Mostly so that if the room is really big, or if you need to light up certain parts of the other parts of the room, you can just walk around, press this button, pop the flash, and you're good to go. You don't have to stay connected to the hip with your camera. All right, and the third piece of equipment is this right here. It is a Flashpoint trigger. This is the R2 Pro, I think Mark II, yeah, Mark II trigger right here. And so all of my flashes that I use are Flashpoint and Godox. So this remote actually communicates with them really well. This is built a little cheap, just FYI, that it rolled off of my car seat onto the road when I was packing things up, and the battery lid, whatever kind of plate popped out and it broke. And so I have gaff tape on here to kind of tape the battery lid shut so that the batteries won't move and they won't fall out and interrupt kind of my workflow. It still works fine, just that piece is kind of annoying, and when I didn't have the tape on and I tried to do the shoot, there were a lot of times where the remote would just turn off, and then I would have to hold the batteries in place, and so that's when I just taped it on and got it. And this is pretty easy to use. I know there's a lot of buttons on it, but you can see that there's different groups here, there's different channels. You can control the modeling light on it, you can control the flash power from here. You can, do so much just with this remote, just with this transmitter, and I really love that. And this basically just goes on top of your hot shoe like this. You tighten it, and then you're good to go. And you've probably noticed also that there's an adapter right here, this piece. And what this does is that this is a single pin hot shoe adapter. And the reason why I have that is because here's the single pin that you can see. And I have that because it is a known issue that this transmitter actually caused white balance issues with Canon cameras. And so every time that I would take a picture with using this transmitter, the images will look super warm. It'll look a lot warmer than it needed to be, and it was just a headache adjusting that in post. And so this is a workaround where this is just a single pin hot shoe adapter, where it doesn't really communicate much with the camera. It doesn't say what kind of flash it is or anything like that. It's just everything, it doesn't mess with the white balance, and that resolved that. I do know though that recently that Flashpoint did update the firmware on these, and so that the color balance issue is no longer an issue. But for me, I have not updated these, and so for me it's just having this. I already have it. It's just easy. I just leave it on all the time and I'm set. I guess the next thing to talk about is the flashes that I use. And the flashes that I use are eVOLV, these eVOLV 200 Pros. These are, if you've seen my flash video, you've seen me talk about these. I use these all the time for every real estate shoot that I ever go on. I have two of them right here. And this one, I put the handle on so you can kind of see. So you can unscrew this part right here, and you can just put it on your light stand, and then you can also loosen this and you can rotate it like that. And so I use this, I have two because I have one that's set up that's always put kind of behind the camera, that I point towards the ceiling, to kind of bounce if the ceilings are white, or pointing at a wall if the walls are white. This is set up behind the camera, and I have one that I carry with me always, like kind of on my hip, and I always carry this with me so that if, you know, my camera's in the corner of a room, I have this light behind the camera. If the far side of the room is still dark and it's not enough power, but I don't want to overexpose the parts of the room that are closest to the camera, I'll literally just turn this second flash on, walk over to the other side of the room, use these triggers right here, press the button, flash goes off, and I have evenly lit the room. So I use these flashes. I like these flashes more than speed lights. One, because that they're a lot stronger, and I mean, like I said before, that there are a lot of rooms where they're just going to be really dark, and so I like to just have the power. I like to just be able to have a flash where it can handle like 90% of the rooms that I'm shooting in, and I don't have to keep switching out flashes or keep thinking like, okay, maybe this hopefully this flash is strong enough to light up this room properly. But I know that a lot of photographers just use a speed light, and sometimes that they just put the speed light on the hot shoe and they just light it up that way. It's really up to your style and your preference. But for me, I prefer these. A downside of these though, of these eVOLV 200 Pros, is that the way that they're designed, I don't know why they designed it this way, but the flash part itself, where the light comes out, is a rectangle. And if you can see on the edges right here, there's a bit of the flash comes above the rim right here of the top. And sometimes, depending on the angle that you hold these at, you'll actually see that line in the flash pop, which is kind of annoying, but it doesn't really affect me too much when I'm editing the photos. But it is just annoying that I kind of wish that they just built these with a circle head instead of these squares or these rectangles. And you can buy the adapters for them, where the head comes off. You can buy these adapters, but I just, you know, I would rather just have a circle and just save money instead of having to buy adapters. But just using these is fine. There is kind of like a trick to them where if you're bouncing them off of a wall, then you won't really see the line. It's more so that if I just point it at the wrong angle, then you start seeing the lines in the flash. And another thing that I really like about these lights is that these lights have a rechargeable battery brick right here, which is this, and I like using rechargeable batteries. I like to recharge them, whereas speed lights, you need 4 AA's. At least the ones that I have, you need 4 AA's to keep it going. There are some speed lights that are rechargeable as well. They're newer. I've only seen them kind of recently, but when I got these were rechargeable. I love that. And I've actually taken these out on a full charge. One day I had like 4 shoots, and these kept up the whole time. Granted, near the end of the last shoot that I had, the battery was kind of blinking, and it kind of freaked me out, but I was able to finish the whole house, not a problem. And then I just came home, recharged them, and they recharge pretty quick too. I'm always kind of surprised on how fast that they recharge. I kind of just have a charging station in the office. Right when I get home, I take everything out of my bags, I take out all the batteries, recharge everything I need to, then dump the photos on my computer and start working on them that way. So that's kind of my workflow. All right, so flash, and the next thing is the lenses. Lenses are super important for real estate photography. I feel like that a lot of clients, a lot of the agents that you're going to be working with, they may want some detailed shots, some close-ups of like some finishes or some vignettes or some, you know, if they have the home staged, some photos like that to help sell the house. But most of the time you're gonna need a wide angle lens to capture it. And don't get a fisheye lens, because a fisheye lens will definitely distort the image. You wanna get a wide angle lens that has the least amount of distortion as possible. There are Laowa lenses that have 0 distortion, but they are manual lenses, manual focus lenses. And the one that I have is this right here, is a Sigma 14-24 2.8. And I use this for both photo and video. It is definitely built, I love Sigma lenses. They're always built so well. Every Sigma lens that I have, I'm never disappointed in them. They're always built super well. They work really smooth. They're really sharp. They have they produce quality images, and they feel like a quality lens. And the perk side is that they're also cheaper than Canon lenses. So third-party lenses, Sigma, I'll always vouch for them. I have multiple Sigma lenses, but I use this one the most. So for this lens, the lens itself kind of bulges out a little bit. It's got these visors, and you can actually watch my review of this lens, and if I would recommend this lens on my channel. I have a video just for this lens, and all the pros and cons of it. But I would recommend this lens because I do use this lens for photo and video in real estate, and it is amazing. I've been using this for years, have not had a problem. I just clean it every once in a while, and just looking at this lens, I need to clean it again now. You can see all the, I don't know if you're gonna be able to see all the dust that's on it, but I just kind of need to wipe this down and clean it. So the other lens that I like to use for real estate is this lens right here. It is a 24-70. I think every photographer should have a 24-70 or an equivalent in their kit. Just the focal range of this lens is just amazing, and it's so versatile. You can zoom in and out, right? And yeah, it's a 2.8. I can't vouch for this lens enough. I have a video on my channel talking about this lens specifically as well. But I use this mostly for tight shots. And if it's a really big open concept home, sometimes I feel like just taking a really wide angle of that space, you lose part of the essence of that space, where you're just more, how big the space is and how empty it looks kind of drowns out like some features of the home or of the room. So I do like to use this from time to time to kind of be able to compress the image a little bit more and zoom in so that I can still get all the elements that I want in the space, but for me being able to zoom in further than 24, I'm able to really get close and really just cut off and just get the viewer to view parts of the home that I want them to view, right? That the agent has highlighted that they want captured or stuff like that. And so both of these lenses are 2.8s. You're not really gonna need a 2.8 per se for real estate photography because you can just change your settings on your camera body. But for video, if you're gonna be doing video, I would definitely recommend getting the lenses that perform well in low light. Because what are you gonna do if the home has a theater room and the lights only go up to a certain power, only a certain brightness, and it's still super dark? If you bump up your ISO, the image is gonna be really grainy. So definitely 2.8. would always recommend if you're doing video. All right, and the next piece of gear that I want to highlight is this. This is an L bracket right here. And this, I was actually skeptical about buying it. A lot of agents have been asking to do vertical content. And so for me, just being able to use this, put it on my camera, and then not having to, use my tripod, switch my tripod head to different orientations. I can keep my tripod the same, and I just change this right here, the orientation of the L bracket and the camera, and it's a lot easier. I also keep the composition that I want. And this thing is great because it uses a standard Arca Swiss tripod plate size, and so any tripod that uses a Arca Swiss tripod plate size, this will work perfectly fine. And yeah, just shooting vertical, and I also use this for video walkthroughs or any video content that I need to shoot vertical. Being able to just use this, put this on my gimbal actually, or my tripod, then it works great. So I would recommend this. I wouldn't say that this is a necessity, but this definitely does make your job a lot easier. And I just feel like that it's a lot easier for me to get everything straightened out and level using an L bracket than just kind of leveling it with the level bubble on my tripods. So L bracket, definitely not a necessity, but it's becoming one for me. Definitely becoming one because ever since I've used it, I always just leave it in my camera bag now. I don't take it out because I never know when I'm going to use it, and I do like having the option of being able to just quickly switch from landscape to portrait mode on my camera, orientation on my camera, and just taking the shots and just keep moving. Things go a lot faster. All right, and the next piece of gear is this right here. This is my drone that I use. This is the Mavic 2 Pro from DJI, and I love this drone. I know that this drone is kind of old now. There's a lot of new drones that have come out. There's a lot of new features that have come out on the drones. There's the DJI Minis, there's the Mavic 3, and for the newer ones, I know that you can change the orientation of the camera from landscape to vertical. This one you can't. But for me, what I do instead is that I have the thirds grid on the screen, and I just film everything in the center, and then that works for me. But I can shoot this in 4K, 2K, and HD. I just really like this drone. I just don't really have a need to get a new drone. The only thing that's kind of annoying is sometimes the geofencing. I do know that that's there for a reason, but there are some times where it would be nice to not have to deal with that, right? But for the drones, the photos that come from it, no complaints. The quality is fine, it's great, especially if you're putting it on MLS. And for video work, I mean, doing this for video work, I think is just essential. And I feel like that being a real estate photographer now, having a drone is a necessity. I feel like there's so many agents, like everybody just wants drone work for their listings now, especially if they're in certain neighborhoods, if there's certain amenities, or if they're really close to some shopping centers, or if they're really close to certain parts of the city, or if you're doing condos, then I mean, just like being able to fly around where the condo is, show the whole complex, the building, and also where it is in the city. I've done quite a bit of those. Yeah, so drones definitely just add a lot of value to the agent, and they just add a lot of value to you as the real estate photographer and the services that you provide. And so the next piece of gear is this white umbrella right here. This is a shoot-through umbrella that I use for flash. And I have this, and I have this because there are some times where the walls that you shoot, since I shoot in flash, I always like to bounce the flash off of white walls or neutral colored walls. But sometimes the walls are not neutral colors. Sometimes they're orange, red, blue, green. I've had some pink, some black. And so being able to use flash through a shoot-through umbrella like this, I'm still able to light up the room, get accurate colors, and have control over my flash and the lighting of the space, right, to properly expose the whole scene. And so what I do is that with this handle right here, there's a hole right here. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see that, but there's a hole right here where I just slide the umbrella through, and then I just kind of hold it, and then I just shoot through it like that, and I'm still able to continue my workflow. I feel like that a shoot-through umbrella is super important, especially if you use flash, to have it. You're not always gonna use it, but it's better to have it than to not have it, because if you don't have it, it's just, the photos just aren't gonna look very good if you don't have a neutral colored wall or a white colored wall to bounce your flash off of, or a white ceiling. And so having a shoot-through umbrella is super important. All right, and the last piece of gear is my tripod. So this tripod is actually nothing really special. I got this tripod in a kit. I don't remember with which kit I got it. I've had this tripod for so long that I've had to like tighten the legs a little bit with these screws. And it has 3 extensions right here that you can twist to lock and unlock. And it's lightweight, it's small. It's great for me to be able to squeeze into tight spaces in homes, and I'm able to adjust the height. I'm able to adjust just a lot of things with this tripod, and it's pretty sturdy. The only thing that I would say, regardless of what tripod that you use, unless you use like a really, really heavy duty one, when you walk around in a home, something that you don't normally think about is that the ground bends every time you take a step because it's carrying your weight, right? I mean, that makes sense, gravity. And so having a really, really light tripod can cause the tripod to kind of move a little bit and the camera to shake, depending on how you walk, depending on the floor, how sturdy it is. But this tripod for me it's heavy enough to where it does absorb some of the vibrations, but it's also light enough for me to be able to just pick it up, run around the house really quick, get the shots, and be done. And as you can see, that this tripod has a ball head right here. Let me actually kind of just take this off. I think I kind of just got used to using a ball head. I just like how fast that it is. Granted, using a ball head tripod head, it does take a little bit longer for you to level everything out. For this tripod, there's levels on both sides, on 2 sides, this one and this one, to kind of make sure that your axes are straight. And there's also one over here as well for, I guess, when you do move this to vertical, you can check the level that way. I would not say that I kind of trust this when it's vertical, which is why I got the L bracket, but just know that you have that option, and it does have those bubble levels. But I really like this because it's really smooth, it's really easy to use, it's durable. Where this one, this big knob right here controls the actual ball part of the head right here, where I can move it around if I need to, and then this knob right here, when I loosen it, I'm able to actually rotate it. So depending on the angle and how I set up everything, just having those two knobs is pretty much all that I really need to capture the shots that I want and that I need to capture the home. Yeah, so that's the gear that I have, that I always bring with me for every real estate shoot that I have. I always bring the same camera, the same lenses, the drone, the flashes, triggers, remotes, tripods, L bracket, all of that. I bring that with me every time that I have a real estate shoot. I don't always necessarily use everything for every shoot, but I always bring it because more times than not, it's better to have it than to not have it, because you can't always be like, hey, I'm gonna go back home real quick, I'll be right back. That just does not work. So let me know what you think. Let me know if you have any questions about any of these things, about the triggers, remotes, cameras, lenses, flashes, drone, whatever. If you have any questions about anything, definitely let me know. And also let me know what gear that you use for real estate. I definitely love to hear it. I definitely love to hear your preferences, maybe on the tripod heads or the different drones or flashes that you like to use. Or if you want, I'm not trying to start a whole debate here, but if you want to talk about your style of photography, if you use HDR or if you use Flambient, which one you prefer better, because that goes into a whole wormhole of other stuff. I just want this video to be mostly about the equipment that you use as a real estate photographer. So if you do shoot HDR, let us know your equipment. If you shoot flash, share with us what you use to create the images that you do. But thanks so much for watching, guys. I wanted to make this video because it was a request. So here it is. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see y'all in the next video. Peace.